Electronic Arts, the gaming giant behind Madden and FIFA, just agreed to be taken private in a $55 billion buyout.
That would make this the largest private buyout of a public company in history. For context, the last record was $32 billion from the TXU deal right before the 2008 financial crisis.
This deal is being led by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, which already owns about 10% of EA, alongside private equity firm Silver Lake and Jared Kushner's Affinity partners.
Shareholders would get $210 a share, a 25% premium to where the stock was trading before the news leaked, and the financing includes a $20 billion loan from JP Morgan.
For Saudi Arabia, this fits a bigger pattern. The Kingdom's sovereign fund has already poured billions into sports and gaming, including Live Golf, the PFL, and even soccer deals. This is a deal with they did with Benzema, Neymar, Ronaldo, just pouring billions of dollars into sports.
Were they all on the same team?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, but they were just different Saudi teams, part of that.
And then Saudi Mane, also one of those Saudi purchases.
I think he's on Ronaldo's team.
Oh, yeah. I think he is too. Yeah.
So it's part of their diversification play away from oil, but it also raises questions in Washington. The deal still has to go through CFIUS. That's the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S., which reviews deals for national security risks.
And some lawmakers have already been vocal about Saudi ownership of U.S. sports and gaming assets. After all, these platforms reach tens of millions of Americans and collect a ton of data.
Yeah, and then there's the political wrinkle. So Jared Kushner's fund is part of the group. Kushner worked closely with Saudi Arabia during Trump's first term, and the Saudi fund is one of the largest backers of his firm today.
Yeah, it's MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. That's his best friend.
Yeah, MBS. He's if you watch F1, he's just constantly in the background. Really? Yeah, just everyone in F1 doesn't like him very much. Okay. He's every time there's like a ceremony of doing the trophy
he's
or whatever,
always there.
He's just like in the background, just like wanting to be on camera.
He poured billions of dollars into.
He did pay
event
to be there. Yeah, I mean he's earned his spot. That's for sure.
I've been trying to read Kushner's book. I forget what it's called for like the last 2 years. I'll never read it, but MBS is in the book. Like,
how much have you read of it?
I've read about half of the book.
Okay.
And so MBS is a big character in a lot of the book. It's like his little buddy.
Yeah.
But there was like a quote. It was like, apparently MBS says like Jared Kushner's in my pocket. Not sure I believe it fully, but
okay. So
Kush wouldn't do that.
Yeah, this definitely isn't in the same pattern as everything else that they've done together.
Exactly. They're good friends.
They're good buddies.
So the questions are big. Should Washington consider video games critical infrastructure? Does Kushner's involvement complicate the politics? And if EA does go private, does it finally get the space to reinvent itself? These are all the games that EA does produce. FC 25, Madden, Battlefield. What else? Sims.
Everyone's favorite
Apex Legends
game maker here.
I mean,
EA.
Yeah, it's your favorite game maker's favorite game maker.
Yeah, that's right. The deal is expected to close in Q2 of 2026. So EA would stay headquartered in Redwood City, and Andrew Wilson will remain CEO, at least according to the research that we did.
Yep, definitely. For more on the story, I spoke to our friend Aidan Gold.
Yeah, Jackson, thanks for having me. My name is Aidan Gold. I work at Ensemble VC. We do early stage investing into big ideas and deep tech.
I met Aidan actually a couple days ago for the first time.
In person?
In person.
He lives here in Austin.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't live in Austin. Wait,
he lives in LA.
LA, okay.
But Ensemble's headquarters are here in Austin. So I was getting lunch with Conrad, one of their GPs, and guess who walks out?
Well, who does Aidan Gold work for?
Ensemble.
Oh,
Ensemble.
Okay.
Did I put the wrong emphasis? Ensemble.
Ensemble.
For my first question for Aidan, at $55 billion, this would be the largest private buyout of a public company in history. What does that signal about the future of gaming valuations and the future of valuations in general?
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of when Elon took Twitter private. That was $44 billion. I think that was back in either 22, maybe 21. And so, these are rare instances when large deals like this happen. Like you said, this is the largest one ever. But I think it shows that gaming is not this kind of side industry, that it's going to have a bigger and bigger role in the future. And it's going to be something that is played globally and that everyone can participate in. You don't need any language to do it. And you just play the game and people can communicate. So I think the market is very large. And with AI and generative tools, we're just going to have a lot more games in the future. So I think they see a lot of potential here. That's why that they're willing to kind of make this investment.
I didn't actually know that Twitter was ever a private company, but apparently I just looked it up. So it was
public company.
A public company. It was a public company since November 2013, and then in late 2022, Elon took it back to being private.
100%.
Yeah. Do you think he'll put it back on the public markets someday soon?
I don't know. I feel like Elon likes having his little world of X. In response to that news, someone like posted this picture. It was like, getting into video games as a kid is so much cheaper than getting into sports as of right now. They posted a picture of hockey sticks, and the price tag was $319.99.
Wow.
He was like, I do not remember hockey sticks being this expensive. If I'm a kid, or I'm a parent even, and I'm buying equipment for my kids, like, I'm either going to buy good equipment or I'm just going to go the route of video games because it's so much cheaper. But I don't know.
Those are your only two options?
Yeah, video games, or I guess you can do, what else? Your kid can sing.
Play it again.
Play piano.
Big Five, they're gone now.
Exactly.
You can only buy the top $300 hockey sticks if you want your kids to play sports.
You want the best for your kid.
That's true. You get them into disc golf. That's a cheap sport.
Yeah, that's a good fun sport to get them into. It's really it's social. It has a good community around, a good team building aspects of that. So.
Exactly. Yeah, and it'll make them really popular with the ladies.
Exactly. My next question for Aidan. The Saudi Public Investment Fund already owns 10% of EA and is leading the deal. Should Washington be concerned about foreign ownership of U.S. gaming companies that collect massive amounts of user data?
Yeah, I mean, I think with gaming, it's a bit differently because it's usually like in a box. I think if there's certain games that are maybe insinuating things that pose a national security risk, that's one issue. But it's very different than like a TikTok or a social media algorithm where you can change. It's an open-ended kind of document that could change someone's brain neural pathways to think a certain way, and that poses a lot more risk for stability for the U.S. But this, I think it's more of a confined box within gaming and video games, and it has less national security risk. So I would say it's generally okay.
I'm going to get psyoped by someone in Battlefield 6 through the game chat.
Battlefield 14.
Yeah, that's what I'll be most afraid of if I'm the U.S. government. Someone talking to me like grooming me to become a terrorist against my own country.
Yeah. No,
that's the national security issue.
The game chat, the Xbox Live, game chat these days is just so much worse than it ever used to be.
Yeah.
As we all know.
I also asked Aidan, EA has struggled with rising game development costs, and I'm wondering, does going private give it the runway to reinvent itself outside of Wall Street's quarterly pressure?
Yeah, I think when you're a public company, people are looking for ways for the revenue to grow, the earnings to grow, and so they're just looking for the next, Madden release or the next Battlefield release and just continue to grow that revenue. And they're not willing to put a lot of money into maybe advanced AI, new ways of computing to do gaming. That's going to be like a paradigm shift, maybe designing something for VR and AR, maybe something that's gaming that connects people on their phones and they can interact in a different way. And so this allows the company to now take longer term bets, like you're saying, something that's maybe 3, 5, 10 years out, and put the resources behind it, the team behind it, that could really change EA in like a big way. And so I think that's what they're going for with this type of acquisition, is to bring fresh energy and creative energy into the new world.
I feel like the conversation around EA right now is that people like hate the microtransactions.
Oh yeah.
In your research of this, did they say anything about like how bringing them private might allow them to not have to do so many microtransactions, make all the little money so they can post revenue? And
no, not on what I looked at, but people were joking like we're gonna get ads now in the middle of a game, like during halftime for Madden. They'll get an ad.
Interesting. So that people are predicting that they'll actually be even more revenue seeking.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're like joking. Like now that they go private, they're going to find like more ways to get creative with how to make money.
Ad in the middle of my FIFA game.
Yeah, it's 3rd and 6, and here comes an ad from Spotify. Punted the last 3 downs, and now I'm going to have a Spotify ad right in front of me.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past EA.
My last question for Aidan. The last record-setting buyout was TXU in 2007 that we mentioned earlier, right before the financial crisis. In your opinion, Aidan, is history about to rhyme with this deal?
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw that this deal had $36 billion in cash, which is just an insane amount of money to be thrown into a deal, and the rest was financed with debt. But I mean, I can't predict the macro. I don't know what's going to come, but I do think it is prescient that the acquisition that you mentioned, and then Twitter was known to be bought at the peak. But I think these things ebb and flow, and if there's a down cycle, there will be a down cycle. But I think long term, Twitter is way more valuable today than it was when it was acquired, even though it had that initial downslope. And even if the market pulls back and there's some sort of recession over the next few years, this is not a short-term play, and that this is like very long-term natured. I do think that the last acquisition that you mentioned, there was a bankruptcy that followed. So I do think if there's too much debt, if the company doesn't have it's not strong foundationally, then there can be issues. But it's more about the company than it is about the macro environment.
Dude, that's crazy. $36 billion in cash. Where did they get the cash from?
Jared Kushner in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, oil, I guess.
And Silver Lake.
Yeah.
MBS has that money in his pockets.
Yeah, dude, cold hard cash.
Yeah. Thank you to Aidan Gold for being on the show today.
All right, that's it for Venture Daily today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like the show, subscribe and hit the like button on this video.
Yeah, and thank you to Content Stack for letting us film here every single day in Austin, Texas. If you like today's show, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or X, leave us a like, a comment, and review. Throw us a 5-star rating if you think you've earned it. And as always, we'll see you here tomorrow morning at Venture Daily.